Okay, today I will be talking about Stanley Kubrick and determining if he was an auteur. Stanley Kubrick was an American film director who lived from 1928 to 1999. While he was alive, he created some of the most critically acclaimed movies of all time, such as The Shining. Okay, all that is good, but what is an auteur, you may be asking? An auteur is a filmmaker or director whose personal style and artistic control is so great that he is regarded as the author of the film. So why do I consider Stanley Kubrick an auteur? There are three main things: his filming style, character types, and themes that occur across almost all of his films. So first, Stanley Kubrick has a few signature shots and camera angles. First, the most famous of his shot types are the complex tracking shots that are common in his films. Here is an example, the scene from Full Metal Jacket where the soldiers are moving up. As you can see, the camera follows the action for a long period of time, rather than cutting. This makes for a very satisfying and visually appealing scene. Also, the tracking shot puts you in the action to some extent, making you feel a little more like a soldier in this case. Here's another example of a tracking shot, this time from The Shining, one of Stanley Kubrick's most famous films. In this tracking shot, you get a sense of sort of loneliness and isolation, as you can see no other people in the shot except for the person on the big wheel. Next is the other shot that Stanley employed to great effect throughout his movies. This is the one-point perspective shot. What a one-point perspective shot is a shot that is symmetrical except for the main character, which is normally what it's focused on. In this scene, you start zoomed in on the face of the main character, and it slowly zooms out to reveal a hallway, sort of, which is used to give the surrounding area, but also it paints the character because you can see what he looks like, and with that you can gauge how he might act. This scene is also an example of the Kubrick zoom. But what's the Kubrick zoom? The Kubrick zoom, sometimes along with the Kubrick stare, is a zoom that can be either in or out that shows the character doing something most time or about to do something. The Kubrick stare is when a character stares seemingly into the camera lens. The zoom is usually points the viewer to think about what is going on, sort of cueing them into the scene. The Kubrick zoom can also be used to establish the scene. In this case, it's the lather. Another weird thing about pivotal moments in Stanley Kubrick films is they often occur inside of bathrooms, such as the famous "Here's Johnny" scene or the pile gun scene. Also in Clockwork Orange, the scene of Alex singing in the bathtub, which clues the old man onto his identity, changed the outcome of the film. So a lot of very pivotal moments happen inside of bathrooms. Overall, I consider Stanley Kubrick an auteur because he not only directs the movie, but enhances them in any way. So he's the author. He mainly does this through the use of incredible, complex tracking shots. He also used the one-point perspective shot to great effect in a variety of uses throughout his films. Finally, the Kubrick zoom, which enhances the scene, adds tension, and many other things for which Stanley was known for. This makes Stanley one of the best directors ever. So in my short video, I decided to show tracking shots and the one-point perspective. I decided that these two were the best because they were easy to show in such a short period of time. So first is the tracking shot. The tracking shot is when the camera follows the main character up the stairs, which is really, it's a simple tracking shot, but it gets the, it is a tracking shot, which is what I was trying to emulate. And then the one-point perspective. That's when the camera is moving backwards while the main character is moving forwards. This is sort of, it's not a perfect emulation, but it does a very good job representing Stanley Kubrick's sort of style. The other thing is that there's a sort of Stanley Kubrick stare at the end, although it's not perfect because it isn't coupled with a zoom. Thanks so much for listening, and have a good night.